Welcome to another episode of Mom Talk Live. So, tonight I'm super excited about our topic because I feel like I'm really in this stage of life right now. And so, go ahead, grab your mama friends, tag them, share this. Tonight, we're talking about parenting adult children. So, I got my mama friends, and we're ready to dive into this conversation. We'll be back right after this. Hey, ladies, how are y'all tonight?
Good. How are
Great.
you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So I don't even want. I normally we'll do a fun question of the week at the end, because I just feel like y'all are about to say a mouthful with this particular subject, and I'm super excited to dive in it because I feel like this is where I'm kind of living right now. I have a young adult and I have a preteen and teenager, so I am going to sit back and learn a lot tonight. But before we dive into tonight's topic, which is parenting adult children, I'll let you both introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you. Kids, ages, where you from. They're both Mom Squad members, so shout out to the members being on. So tell us just a little bit about you.
You want me to go first, Latoya?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. My name is Harristina Stevens, and I am a Mom Squad member, which I love.
Woo
Um,
woo.
I I have a set of twins that are 21 and a 17-year-old, and I live in Lawrenceville, Georgia. And I'm just glad to be on here and looking forward to this time of discussion and just some pointers or picking my brain as to, raising them and everything. Just seemed like it was yesterday I brought them home from the hospital. They're getting ready to
Mm.
graduate in May from Valdosta State University. Super excited. And I have a 17-year-old that
Yay.
would be a rising senior. So still dealing with the teenage, still trying to dip, getting into adulthood, but more of that. Go ahead, Latoya.
Hello. My name is Latoya, and I'm also a Mom Squad member.
Woo
I
woo.
live in Los Angeles, California, and I am the parent of a 26-year-old. She's the only child, and she is a pharmacy student.
Awesome. Yay. So
Yay.
excited. Okay, ladies. So let's dive in. Let's start with this. Because I posted this question last night in a group. Raising adult children, right? What lesson is motherhood teaching you right now? And then we're gonna dive into some specifics. But what lesson in this current moment, this current season, what lesson is it teaching you right now?
You want to go first,
Yeah.
Christina?
Okay. For me, it's teaching me to be patient and to listen. Now, I was raised, I'm the number 11 of 12 kids. So by the
Woo!
time my mom she was like, I want you to not be heard. We couldn't really express our emotions or express how we felt. That was
Mm-hmm.
seen as talking back. So
Mm-hmm.
my husband helped me balance me out because he said, well, you have to understand your mom and the way that she was raised as, the kids were coming up and everything. And just now understanding them more and letting them express themselves and just listening more. I had to learn that through the years, but he kind of balanced me out because you know how you say, oh, I won't ever do that with my kids. We
Mm-hmm.
could not say a word because my mom was like, you're talking back, you're being disrespectful. And the one thing that kept coming back to my mind recently before coming on this call is the fact that when my girls were teenagers, like high school age, they would say, Mom is just not listening to us. She's not listening to us. And now I
Mm.
really understand that now that they're adults. And now we have a really good relationship because those were the rocky years. But, thank God for my husband. He balanced it out where they were able to talk to him and then he would explain what they were feeling to me. And I was able to, maneuver through those years.
Hmm. So you said a mouthful, a few things, and I'm gonna let you go, Latoya. But one of the two things I want to point out is I want to know, and we could come back to this. What does listening to them mean? Like, what does that exactly like? What does that look like? And then the other thing is, you talked about how you brought what you how you were raised, into parenting. So I notice even with myself, there's a lot of things that I seen that I don't want to bring. So I'm trying so hard to be the opposite of it.
Mhm.
That is like becoming an epic failure as well. So we'll get into that. But I love that you brought out those 2 points. So, but we'll get back into that. You can go ahead, Latoya.
So what am I learning in this season of parenting? Good question. One thing I think I'm learning more is to rely on God because, when they become adults, they listen to suggestions and sometimes they go on their own. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess in this season, I just have to know like everything that I instilled in her when she's making decisions that she'll make the right decision. And sometimes as a parent, they don't make the right decision. So you just got to trust God that He can reel them back in before they get too far.
Woo.
And to piggyback on Harristina about listening, that is very big. You have to listen to them. And sometimes I grew up like Harristina, when you had an opinion, you were talking back and being disrespectful. And I've always allowed my daughter to have a voice. A lot of people they don't like that the child have a voice, but I wanted her to know what you say matters. Even if I don't agree with it, I still need you to get it out because I have to validate how you feel. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that creates healthy adults when you validate and let them know that you care. I hear you. Let's talk through it. How can we make a difference? And sometimes listening might hurt because it might be something that you hear about yourself that you don't want to hear.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They may
Yeah,
tell you something, you be like, yeah, like not me,
that
but
happened. Yeah.
but you gotta realize this is how they perceive it and this is what they see. And you gotta learn how to make a balance. So
How did you
respect.
navigate that though? Like how so if you heard something, right, that you was just like, I don't agree with that, that's not me, or they perceived it wrong. Because sometimes, even as from adult to adult, we can or I should say other relationships, not from our children, because we are talking about adult children. Sometimes we can perceive things wrong from our spouse, significant others, our parents. So how did you navigate it, or how like did you go away for a moment and like, okay, I gotta get myself together before I come back, or like what did you do in that moment? How did you respond?
Sometimes it depends on what was said. Sometimes
Okay.
it's I need a break. We'll table that and we'll come back to that conversation. Sometimes in the moment, I may ask, so why do you think that? Or put
Mm-hmm.
yourself in my shoe. How would you have handled it differently?
Mm-hmm.
To see how how the situation could have turned. And then sometimes it's like, oh my, you was right. I mean, I can see why you did it, but sometimes it's just let me regroup, or sometimes we'll talk through it. Okay, you feel like that, so give me your reasoning. What could I have done different? How would you feel that it was different? Sometimes you just got to talk it out because communication is important in every relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my daughter have a great relationship, but it took a lot of communication and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever gotten that my you are right. So I have 11, 14, and 18. So hopefully I'm getting there one day. Or maybe I'm wrong all the time. I don't know. But we'll see. What about you,
Maybe
Harristina?
you're right all the time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. For me, uh, we were just talking not too long ago, the girls and I, and they were talking about, Mom, I have to be honest with you. I didn't like you. I really
Ooh.
didn't like.
Wait, time out. Like, how did you respond to just that piece? Because that could hurt your heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it did. And I said, why? And they went on to, both of them went on to explain how going back to that listening piece and, not letting them, really express themselves as far as the things that they were dealing with and trying to get that out and everything. And those were rough years. The high school near the end was really rough. And, I cried many a night. So like, he was like, honey, you got to understand they're trying to, he would have to explain it to me because like I said, growing up, I couldn't express myself. I couldn't talk it out
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But just listening to them, and when and we were talking in retrospect, and they said, "Now, mommy, we love you. We listen to what you have to say, and we're able to express ourselves now and get those things out." But they were saying those years, mommy, it was rough, and I was like, yeah, it was, oh yes, it was rough. And just looking in retrospect, because we have times that we just, when they're home, we talk it out, and see how they feel, especially in light of the uptick of suicides of those different age
Mm-hmm.
range. And
Yeah.
my heart was just heavy, and we both called them, and I'm always calling them and just checking on them. We said, please talk to us. If you're going through we would get you help. We would, we want you to express how you're feeling, and to check on you mentally, physically, so we can
Mm-hmm.
have that balance. But yeah, it did hurt. And at the same time, just understanding where they were coming from at the time. And I look back on it and say, I wasn't really there as far as being able to express myself, because I didn't know how to, because it
Yeah.
was like, you got to be quiet type thing. Yeah.
It's so crazy how we bring things from our childhood into parenting. Like whether we're trying to do something exactly the same way or not exactly the same, like it's just so crazy. And then I think oftentimes our kids will have this certain perspective of us, and we're just trying to do what we know that's best, and they may not see as though it's best in that situation. So I love the fact that you recognize that it was because of your upbringing that you
Mm-hmm.
were the way that you were. And so let's talk about one of the things that you mentioned, because the uptick of suicide, like you're exactly right about that. It's been a lot um, amongst that age group, especially young adults. So let's talk about when you said that, if you need help, we'll get you help. Talk to us. One of the things I feel like personally, just sharing and being transparent, I feel like in an area, I won't say I necessarily failed, but I wish it was different. Having outside people other than me and my husband to be able to talk to our children. Like they don't really have close relationship with like a older sibling, or because they don't have one, or to talk about my oldest, or like a godparent, or just a cousin, anybody. And so how did y'all navigate that? One of the things, just real quick, I'll say I was talking to this one mom, and she was saying that since her kids were younger, what she did was when they were really young, they found people together that they both agreed on and trusted. And that was
Mm,
the trusted individual that
okay.
they would go to if they couldn't go to their mom.
Oh,
I
that's,
didn't think to do that. I was just trying to
yeah.
raise people and trying to survive myself, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think to do that.
Right.
And
Mhm.
so what's your situation with that? Did they have someone to go to, or was it just you?
Latoya, you want to go? Or you want?
I could go.
Okay.
So of course I have a very big family. So Tasia grew up with a lot of her cousins. So she had a lot of cousins and people that she ran with because she was the youngest of the crew and everybody else was older than her. But as far as adults, I must say I got to give her godmother a shout out because
Shout
her
out to
godmother is
Godmom.
her, yes, her godmother is amazing. To this day, my daughter can call her and say whatever she want to say. Her godmother gonna listen to her and gonna give her sound judgment. She gonna listen, but I trust her enough to know that she gonna help Tasia make the right decision. And
That's
that's
good.
probably one of the only trusted people I think that Tasia really would open up to. So I'm grateful for her. But she's been there from birth. So she's been
Got
through Tasia life her whole life, so that's different. But along the way, she played basketball. So she does have like a basketball coach that's a mom and dad, they husband and wife, but she calls them mom and dad. And she talks
Mm,
to them like they grew a bond. So every stage of her life where I felt like she needed someone, she had someone. And then some
mhm,
of her friends, one particular, we moved to LA, so we left our family. And she got
mhm.
one friend that they're still friends to this day. She talks to their mom. Her mom and dad is like Tasia's mom and dad, but we're all friends. So I feel like in every stage of life, God will send the right people. And I know you moved away from family, so it's
Yep.
harder when you move
Mm-hmm.
away to find those people, but it's not too late, to get those people for your kids. It's not too late because she met the California family when she was 17, going to 18 years old.
Okay.
And now they like her family, they her ace boo coon, you know. So,
Mhm.
you know, you can get that same, you know, and now your daughter, the oldest one is going to college. So she's gonna get different friends and you know, those mom may become those people, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true. And I'm glad you mentioned that because as you were speaking, I was saying that, like, yeah, I moved away. So it wasn't just that people didn't want to be in her life or be close to her. We moved away when she was so young. I think two is when we moved
yeah.
from our whole time when she was two. And so it was hard to build those relationships that were consistent as well because we lived in North Carolina and then we moved to Atlanta. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was some transition there. So yeah. What about you, Harristina,
Let
for
me
your
give a
girls?
shout out to the godmother too.
Okay, God,
Yes,
mom's coming through
godmother.
tonight.
Yes, she
Yes.
was there. Well, actually, she was. My husband went off to ministry school when I went back to school, which it was in Valdosta, and so my husband, you know, they became good friends. And you know, while he was in ministry school, you know, she was like, "Oh, he always talked about you," and you know, his potential wife, because we dated for 2 years while he was there, and then I graduated. He came out of ministry school, so they stayed in touch. And so when we had the twins, they were her, you know, she was in my wedding and they was the godmother. And but she's been there every step of the way, you know, when they didn't feel like they can talk with us, you know, she gave sound judgment. And you know, she would send them gifts every year, come for their birthdays every year. And she's in New York and she's coming down for the
Nice.
graduation and everything. But she would just pray with them and let them always point them back to Christ, which, you know, I always still stand on that scripture: raise up a child in the way that he or she should go. When they're old, they would not depart from it. So just having that solid, you know, foundation, and just seeing them, you know, they say, "Oh, we talked." Her name is Michelle. You know, Michelle said this, and we trust what she's telling them, encouraging them,
Mhm.
even now as they entering, you know, into adult. So she's been there every phase, and right now they have a best friend that they have as a roommate, and their best friend's mother, you know, talks to them, you know, when they don't feel like they can talk to me. And you know, so they have that stability and that they can share with as well. And one of their friends that's in they became friends in middle school. She moved back to Panama. It's another country, but they still stay in touch. And she's beginning to
Mhm.
she's studying psychology. And so, you know, being twins, you know, they go through, you know, they don't want to be seen as one. And you know, they've been
Mhm.
fighting, you know, lately. But she's taking psychology, and you know, they reach out to her individually, separately, and just talk things through, and you know, just encourage them. So I just thank God for the network that they do have.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get into what were some other challenges as they were like teenagers going into young adulthood and literally like leaving the nest, like leaving the house. What were some other challenges that you all discovered during that time?
Oh my goodness, can I go?
Yes.
Listen, okay. So, you know, raising godly kids, you know, I prayed for them while they were in my womb, and I spoke over them, you know, both kids, all three. So going off to college, they were seen as, you know, like aliens or something. I mean, you know,
Mm.
oh, the way they dress or the way they carry themselves. Why y'all talk like that? You know, what's wrong with, I mean, everything. You know, they had a rough first semester, first year.
Wow.
They thought about coming back home, and we said, you know, stick it out. You know, we always pointed them back to Christ, and, you know, pray with them and talk to them and everything. And I said, you can't be like the world. You're not like the world. I mean, they
Mhm.
are convicted by your light. And I said, you because you are standing out and you know being, and they were, you know, judged for being celibate and you know not wait, you know, just different things like that. And you know, being in college, everybody sleeping with everybody type thing. So
Maybe
they
I
had
ain't
to make
ready.
us, yeah, they had to make a stand. And then, you know, when they would meet new friends, the other friends would call it out. Oh, they such and such, and they're such and such. So
Mm.
it was hard that first year. And you know, now just with what they've gone through the last couple of weeks with different things, and we've saying you're different, and you have to stand on that because people are watching your life. These young people are watching your life. You say you're a Christian, they gonna really see if you really live in it. They don't want to hear the
Yeah.
mouth talk, they want to see you live it. And you have to go through the trials. And just to give you a quick testimony, one of my the oldest twins spoke to their AKAs, so they have sisters, and
Mm-hmm.
they spoke to she spoke to the group on mental health and the importance of and sharing her faith. And at the end, one of the girls came to her and said, I've fallen away from Christ. Can you help me? And I sent her one of the study guide books, and they're going to do. I said, start a group, start a study group, start a little
Mm-hmm.
Bible study group. I said, these kids are reaching out. They just didn't know how to, and everything. But long story short, but that it was a rough time starting out in college, and especially sending them off. They said a certain percentage of kids that say they're Christians before they go to college end up straying away and getting caught up in a whole lot of things. So, that was my prayer before they went. I said, Lord, let them maintain, and, they're going to have challenges just like anyone else, but just stay strong. And every time they will call us, we just point them back to the word, and just let them know. And then it was just such a blessing when they moved into their apartment. They said, Mommy, come in our room. Each of them have a prayer corner with all the little scriptures.
Mm.
And then at the end of the
That's
semester,
amazing.
Mom, all of our prayers have come true, and I showed them how to have a prayer corner. And I didn't say anything. I didn't tell them to do it, but it just blessed me for them to do it on their own, and to be able to seek Christ in those
Yeah.
times of need. Yeah.
I'm glad that they had each other though. So that's one of the things that I really worry about. And I mean, the whole like a college, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that they had each other. So that's amazing. One of the things I was thinking the whole time, like, "Ooh, you good?" Because I would have wanted to pull up at the college. Like, what y'all talking about? What? Like, I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
Tramika, you got a heart to hold back many a times.
Woo!
Yeah.
Listen, pray for me now.
Yeah,
Pray for me now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, absolutely. What about you, Toya?
Whoa, well, my story is a whole lot different. I grew up in church. Tasia grew up in church her whole life. However, I felt like my family was so strict on me and so hard on me growing up that I kind of, not that I didn't instill the same values in her, but I wasn't as like pushing it as much as they pushed it on me. So we're talking about, so my kid she's just a different kid. So she went to college. Her first semester, she stayed on campus. Her second semester, her and her boyfriend them was getting an apartment.
Oh Lord.
So her and her boyfriend and like they friends had a whole house they had rented out. I don't
I
condone
ain't ready.
taxes. So
I ain't
I
ready.
made her figure out how to pay her own rent. I never paid it not one time. I made her figure it all out. And in my head, I was just praying and told him, Lord, thank you. It didn't work out. I knew it wasn't going to work out. But I realized, so my theory in parenting is I'm going to let you have these moments so that you can realize that this is not how it's going to work. Because if you don't do right, you're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So she tried it. It didn't work. That dismantled. The relationship didn't work. None of it worked. And then midway through school, she got an academic probation, but she didn't tell her mother. And I've always raised her that everything that you do, God is going to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
So she tried to get some paperwork from somebody else. She tried to get my aunt to help her out. And the school still said, well, we need your mother to write the letter. So she had to come to me. So that didn't work out. So she wound up going to Oral Roberts University her junior year. She transferred schools. She was out here in California, and I'm grateful for her transferring to Oral Roberts. She wound up graduating from there. But it was a Christian school. And I keep telling my daughter she has a call in her life. And, so God places her where she needs to be, even though she has not accepted her call. But that child right there, I got some stories. But I feel like now that she's getting older, she's leveling out. Like, it's funny because as much as she is like, she raised in it, so she know the word. Like today we were talking about something and she said, Mom, And I don't even think she realized it when she was talking. She said, Mom, you've been working so hard for these last 2 years. She said, but financially, God about to set you straight. And I laughed and I said, I'll receive it. Like we were just having
Mhm.
a casual conversation. I'm like, okay, you better prophesy to me.
Yeah.
So now that she's getting older and she's in grad school, I feel like that rough patch that we had, because it's gonna be a little rocky. Um, I feel like it's smoothing out. Like I see the maturity. She's maturing now into who, she's developing to be. But yeah, college was that's when I got the biggest of my like, hey, I'm an adult now. So
Wow. Okay. I want to talk about the dating piece. So how even when they were teenagers in high school, like how did y'all navigate that? Even to now, 21 and 26, like how how did y'all navigate the dating piece?
Okay. You want to? Okay.
go
Well,
ahead.
they really didn't date in high school, and they're like, mommy, and the guys are playing games in college. So they was like, and we just telling them God has someone for you, and plus they confessing, to be celibate and everything. And guys don't want to hear that right now, type thing in college. It's like, no, I ain't want to hear that. But they have their standards, and we just have to keep pointing them back. And I'm praying, that book that we have, The Power of Praying Parent, I'm praying for their
Mm-hmm.
mates now.
Mm-hmm.
Just talked
Look, I
about in
got
the
my
book
book right
how
over here
she just
somewhere.
she talked about how she prayed for her both of her kids mates, and how God blessed them. Yes, I have mine. So I'm just praying, and they're just focused, and they was like, mommy, you know and I'm telling them, we tell them our story, my husband and I, how when we just totally surrendered to God and just focused on him and went on about our business. God was preparing him. God God was preparing him way somewhere, and I was in Georgia, and a cousin introduced us. I said, God can use any kind of way to connect you to who he has for you. He
Mm-hmm.
just wants you
Mhm.
to just be patient. And I know it's hard. You're like, well, we really haven't had a boyfriend. What's going to happen? I said, you just have to, we know that God is able, and, trust him. It doesn't feel good because everybody around them have their boyfriends and, dating and stuff like that. They had dates or whatever, but as far as being in a relationship long term, they haven't experienced that yet. So we said it's coming. Just be patient, and we know it's hard, and just getting them to be confident in who they are. And we said God is preparing him wherever he is. And they said, Mom, you always tell us y'all story. I said, when I let it go and everything, that's when it happened. And so,
Yeah. So are they seeking
it's
like a are they seeking a serious relationship? Like they don't want to just kind of date to just kind of get to see how it is, or
yeah, they
they
want to
ready for
date.
the one?
They want to date, but these guys don't want to respect who they are,
Yeah.
and they've liked guys,
Yeah.
they've interacted with, not saying they don't interact with guys and everything, but it's always that S always comes up, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mhm.
well, you can't give me this right now, then I'm going on about my business. And they was like, Mom, I said, we just want a good guy friend, to which they do have. But that dating piece of just being in a relationship, and one of them was in a relationship, and he was like, yeah, I want to date you. And they dated for a minute, and come to find out, she went over to the apartment, and he was, it was just craziness. But anyway,
Yeah.
but you just have to they just have to, trust God. But yeah, they do want to be in a relationship. They desire to be in a relationship and everything. But they just have to we just said, just got to trust, and it'll come, and they interact, being active and stuff like that and everything. But that's how everything is right now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Love it.
I'm thinking it's my turn. My daughter was an athlete. She was athletic. So, there was always someone, um, just because of who she was. But I've had to learn now, probably when she got to college. In high school, it was nothing really serious. It was just that, oh, they think I'm cute. But
Mhm.
in high school, I mean, in college, I was not there. You know what I'm saying? Because she was away. Um, so she had a couple of relationships, and so I was told if you act like you don't like the person, you push them closer to that person. And if you
I
act like
heard
you
that too.
like them, then they will not stay. And I'm the mama, ain't nobody, good enough for my baby. So I'm just like, you know. So I had to learn, like, and even when she called me to tell me different things, I had to learn to not like him because she having an issue with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn to listen to her, but not judge at the same time,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
not let my emotions get involved in what was going on in her relationship. Now I don't think so. Now she's not in a relationship per se because she says she's focused on school and trying to,
Mm-hmm.
finish her program, and it's real rigorous, and then she'll worry about life. So she's not dating right now, but usually when she's dating, it's a roller coaster for the mother.
For
You know,
you.
it's a roller coaster. It's like, okay, how do I navigate this? And then, her being the only child, sometimes I'm like, hey, let's go to dinner. And it's like, oh, I'm busy. I'm going with, and I got to be like, okay, she dating somebody,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
so, then I'm like, well, she got to live her life, and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
dating was challenging, because with that comes, they don't really know, and you got to teach them. As a
Yeah.
parent, you got to teach them what's right. You got to teach them what's wrong. You got to, get in it, but don't get in it. Give sound advice without your emotions. And you got to learn how to detach how you really
Yeah.
feel, and, to give good advice. But yeah, it was, and she's, like I said, she was athletic. So just her athletic ability, she played basketball. So the boys just look at her because, oh, she could hoop. So then it was like, oh, can she come play basketball with us? And I'm like, I know what that's about. I know. So yeah, but it's a challenge. But like I said, you just learn how to separate yourself from it. Be there
Yeah.
for them, but don't get too entangled in the relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah, one of the things I really admire about my mother-in-law, she said it before, and looking back now, I kind of recognize it. She never gave like a yes, I like her, or no, I don't. She was always pretty neutral. Like she never said anything to me, and I heard her say that before. Like she's always now that she got older children, of course, when they were dating, but like we were in high school, young adults and stuff. She was already pretty neutral. The only time I remember her ever saying anything is we got engaged. We got married at 20 and 21, but I think we got engaged at like 17 and 18. And she was just like, y'all are not ready. And she was right. We wasn't. We probably wasn't even ready at 20 and 21, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. But that's the only time I ever. So I love the fact that she remained neutral. I am so opinionated, especially when it comes to my kids, that I'm praying now that I can really remain neutral, because in a minute I'm like, like
Well,
that ain't gonna work, this ain't gonna work. I could tell right now, like all that little stuff. So I'm trying to, hold back.
but your relationship with your children will help you pull back
Yeah.
because you're not gonna want to have. Because I'm gonna tell you just from experience, not per se with my daughter, because I
Mm-hmm.
haven't had this experience with her, but I've seen other parents who be opinionated and stuff, and they push their child to that person, and then
Yeah.
their relationship with their child is strained, or they don't see their child because the child has chosen elsewhere. So you will learn, like, you'll be wanting to say whatever, but you'll be like, I'm gonna sacrifice it this time because for your child's sake.
Yeah.
So I mean, and
I hold back now
I
too.
get it, but you'll learn your balance. Every parent is, really tight hold on their kid, but you learn to be like, and I got to some place where I'm like, well, Tasia, you made that decision. You gotta live with it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta live with your decision. You made it, and or when she want me to be the cleanup woman and fix it, you made it. You got to fix it yourself. How can you clean it up? So, but you will learn when time come how to pick your battles, as they say. You'll pick your battles.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you went into some like tips and things that you tell your daughter. So I want to do that, but I want to take a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to talk about some different strategies that you all use and just some tips that you can give moms who are either living with or raising adult children or about to go into that phase of life. So we'll be back right after this. So excited to host Momscape 2022. I know my team has to be excited as well. Look, y'all, we have been in a hotel room hosting our events for the last 2 years, resetting the room multiple times during the weekend to accommodate our moms. We're not going to have to do any of that in this new, beautiful conference center. Super excited. The space is super dope. It's going to take place in Atlanta, Georgia, in this beautiful conference center. There has been a multi-million-dollar renovation just completed. There's a restaurant on site. There's an indoor pool. There's an outdoor pool. There's a fitness center. The conference center is over 30,000 square feet. Now, we are not going to take up all of that space. Just not quite yet. Soon, but not yet. But we will need a lot of that space to be able to serve our moms in this ultimate escape. This is where our luxury accommodations for our moms from all over the world is going to take place as well. Look, Momscape was designed to provide a place for moms all over the world to run away to so that they can learn, they can level up with our life-changing workshops. They can find a peace of mind. They can meet new moms and have fun. Momscape is all about the fun. We're going to have a pool party. We got opening sessions. We got dynamic workshops. We have some dynamic speakers lined up. We have a vendor fair. Listen, at our vendor fair, you're not just going to be able to buy and purchase products. We're going to have resource vendors there too that is going to help you level up in your life as well as help your kids level up as well. We have a 3-part formal that's going to include a red carpet, a formal dinner, a 90s after party. Y'all not going to be able to get me off the dance floor. We also have some special guests lined up to be with us as well. Can't forget about our Mom Talk Live as we close it out on Sunday. I am so excited. You do not want to miss this amazing 3-day event. VIP and regular admission tickets do go on sale February 6th, but be the first to know by going online right now, clicking the link, and signing the interest list. Do that today. Grab your mama friends, and I will see you in Momscape 2022. All roads lead to June 10th and through the 12th, 2022. Momscape 2022. You have to be there. So I am so excited to host Momscape 2022. Momscape was designed for moms to run away to escape to have fun, be able to connect with other moms, and press the reset button on life. So when they go home, they are a happier and healthier mom. And so June 10th through the 12th, 2022 is going to be right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And so you don't even need to sign the interest list. The early bird tickets are on sale right now. So go ahead and grab your tickets. We have flex pay options for our moms. So lock in your seat, grab your tickets before the price increase. We have lots and lots of surprises, just different things that we're going to do throughout. The biggest thing that I always talk about, especially when it comes to the squad, is we know how to connect and we know how to have fun. And so we're going to have those life-changing workshops. We have some dynamic speakers. Make sure you stay connected. Go ahead and subscribe to the email list so that you can see when our speakers are being announced. But go, run, grab your mama friend, and make sure you meet us at Momscape 2022. You have to be there. Okay, ladies, let's jump back into this topic. Let's talk about some tips, some strategies that you use, that you found that help the relationship when it comes to raising those adult children.
You going first here, Stina?
Yes, I go first. Communication. Just, I know for us, we make sure that we call each day, or just the small things of just reaching out and checking on them. I'm not a helicopter parent, but just making sure that communication, stays open, because it's just so much going on around them. They're trying to finish up their last couple of months. I just talked to them today. They was like, Mom, we're under so much stress. And, I told one of them, I said, just, they have these hammocks outside. I said, you just have to just take a walk, just degress, just trying to make sure that you have that balance mentally. I know it's overbearing, you're trying to finish up everything, but just have time to just take for yourself so you can, regroup, and then make sure that that balance is there.
So let me ask you this: how much is too much? So when they go off to college, so you reach out every day. So how much is too much?
Well, for me, because they won't call me, they don't call, and then I did an example. I just tested this, so I didn't call for like a day or so. They was like, "Mommy, we miss you calling. You normally call around 12." Or, I had a set time that I would, just check in and, see how they're
Mm-hmm.
doing. Not overbearing and everything, detail or whatever, but they missed that. They was like, "Oh, we miss you calling." I said, "I thought I was
Mm-hmm.
calling too much." They was like, "No, Mommy, we miss you calling, or, just checking on." We don't talk long. It might be a minute or two. Just checking in, see how you're doing. You need anything, where are you, because they were struggling today. And it was like, "Mom, you call at the right time. We're able to get through it. We're better now and everything."
That's
So
good.
I don't think it's over. But they would tell me if I'm calling too much. And when I tested it, they were like, "No, Mommy, we miss you because you didn't call a certain time or whatever." So, that's our
And you were
situation.
calling at 12 in the afternoon or 12 o'clock at night? Because I'm gonna be asleep
No,
at 12
12 in
o'clock
the
at night.
afternoon on my lunch
Oh,
break. I just check in or send a text or something just to check in on them. Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Um, we talk every day, sometimes several times a day. She was in Hawaii this weekend,
Oh, nice.
so
Right, nice.
um, if I didn't like one day, but they were 5 hours behind East Coast time, and I work nights, so if I don't hear from her by a certain time, I'll be like, "You alive?"
Hmm.
Or I'll call or something, like I just want to know you're okay. And she'll be like, "I'm alive, LOL," or something, or she'll respond back. And because I work nights, I'll be calling at all kind of crazy hours. Um, and mainly I don't do it as much. When she was in undergrad, I called more. But now that she's in pharmacy school, I don't call as much. I know she worked night, like into the evening, so I may talk to her until she get in the house because she lives alone,
Yeah.
or something like that. But sometimes we call and talk to each other 20 times a day. She'll call me just probably just as much as I call her, but she does the same thing. If she don't hear from me, she'll text or call and be like, "Why haven't I heard from you all day? What have you been doing all day?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I was asleep today. I decided to get some rest or whatever." But we check on each other. And I think part of it is because I travel. And sometimes, like now I'm traveling for work, but I'm close to family. But sometimes I travel and it's just me and I'm not close to
Hmm.
family. So it's more so of, "Are you all right?" Because we're both in two different states.
Yeah.
Um, but communication is key. Like today, I know I probably will not hear from her because on Fridays, she have tests every other Friday. And
Hmm.
so she's probably going to be non-existent. So I talked to her earlier today, and that's probably it. I probably won't hear again from her until tomorrow. Every time I have anxiety every Friday until she called me because then tell me that she passed her test. So I'm anxious,
Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah.
taking the test. So Friday, when I don't hear from her by a certain time, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she hasn't called yet." And I'm like, "You passed?" And she's like, "Of course I passed," And I'm just like, "Oh, maybe you didn't call at the normal time. So I'm
Love
normally
it.
anxious on Fridays, but communication is definitely key, especially with the children today,
Hmm.
Yeah.
because we have a different breed of kids.
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
actually, commend Harristina, about, the way that, her children are still celibate and, they still in
Yeah.
that road. That is like awesome. Cause, when I was growing up, they was, there were children that were doing that. And probably because I was a young mom and I was like, "Oh my God, they were so strict on me. I couldn't do nothing." I kind of strayed from that. If I had to go back, I
Hmm.
probably would have implemented and kept some of those traditions. Not that I don't love the Lord, we still go to church and love Him and everything, but I just was not as strict and not as, she
Hmm.
went, but I wasn't like, "Oh no, you can't play basketball," and "Oh no, you can't." I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can miss church." Where for me, it was like, these are your church days, and everything you do around your church days, or your friends can come to church with you. So if my friends
Hmm.
they want to come to church with me, I can't. I didn't go to birthday parties. I didn't stay the night at nobody's house. I didn't, it was like church. And so I commend that you have children in this century
Yes.
that
That
are
is.
still living that way. That's a
Yeah.
blessing because they not living like that. They not making them like that no more. I'm just gonna be honest,
And that's what it
they not doing it like that,
Yeah.
and then everything that they have accessible to them.
Mm-hmm.
The world is just, they have so many things accessible. And my thing is, I'm like, some of my daughter's struggles I feel are because of the calling that she has. So I feel like she has to go through some certain things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but she know the Lord, and I'm grateful that she know that she can pray and call on him. And a lot of times I just rely that he's doing that. But communication, Tramika, you have to communicate with the baby when she goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be
I'm
doing it.
doing
You
it.
probably gonna be wanting to do drive-bys. My daughter was in Oklahoma,
Like,
so
I'm on my way. Where you at? Like,
if you gonna
I just pulled up to the campus. Where are you? Because you're not in your room now.
listen, when Tasia freshman year,
You got a string of gray hairs.
right?
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
No, when Tasia first went to campus every Friday and Saturday her freshman year, I would call her in the middle of the night. Let her not answer. I'll be like, "Where were you?" She'd be like, "Mom, I was asleep. I called you." So then it got so bad. I was like, "Turn on your phone. If you turn off, then I can't see your location. I'm coming to take your phone."
Gotta leave that location on. And even
This
beyond, like, trying to make sure they're safe, because the world is
right.
crazy.
It's so much
Yeah, the
going
world is
There's
on.
so
crazy.
much going on.
Yeah.
And it don't stop.
Yeah.
My daughter 26, and I still be like, "Did she get home all right? Is she okay?" It don't, that worrying, it just
Absolutely.
does not stop, just because it's so much. I mean, even us as adults, sometimes I be like, I don't want to go outside when it's dark because it's just so much
Yeah.
happening.
It's a
You're
lot
right.
going
You
on.
don't know
Yeah.
who's watching you and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm learning. I'm watching and I'm learning. I think the biggest thing for me is releasing the control, because I want to dictate and control, and not because I just want to be a controlling person. It's because I want to see success. And success will come, especially, if I'm putting her in the hands of God. It's just a matter of those stumbles along the way. I'm trying to walk her around the potholes when some of them she need to fall in.
Yeah.
So
Learn.
I get that. It's just hard to not do it. I get it though. Like, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm learning, and I'm growing daily, literally, like growing personally as an individual. That's the lesson it's teaching me right now, like a lot of personal development myself, because I'm growing individually as I raise another individual. So it's amazing. Like, I won't say always, but lately, as I've been talking about it, you have to be a different parent to raise a preteen, a teen, and a young adult, and it's all different.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be a different person and a different parent. One of the things I will say that's helping me a whole lot is therapy. Like, I don't know where I would be without therapy right now, because it helps me to evaluate things and kind of understand be like what my response is going to be before I like just kind of go out of control or respond in a certain way. It helps me to navigate things. So I'm really grateful for that, for sure.
You need it. I have done therapy for years. I mean, people, they don't really think about it, but it helps to keep you focused.
Yeah.
And I understand, as a mom, you don't want to lose the control, because I feel like my whole life I did. This kid says she wants to be a pharmacist. And it's funny because I see Facebook posts from 10 years ago, like, "This is my doctor in the making." And, I've spoken over her life, all of her life. And at one point, it didn't look like we was going to pharmacy school. It didn't look like everything. It just looked like everything went left real quick. And as a parent, I took a step back and I stopped talking about it. And my response became, "It's your future, and however you're going to live your life," And I started, because it was driving me crazy, and she was living her life free flowingly. Like, it
Right.
wasn't even bothering her. I'm stressed out every day. So, like, did you apply to pharmacy school? Where you going to pharmacy school? You've been out of college for 2 years. And it was driving me insane, because I'm like, she working, she going out with her friends, she doing everything. This don't even look like she cool at home. It didn't look like we was going anywhere. And one day, she was like, "I'm about to apply to pharmacy school because I can't make $20 an hour. This not, I gotta get my real money." And in my head, I was like, "Thank you, Jesus." But I
Yeah.
stopped talking about it, stopped asking about essays. And when the time was right for her, and that's why you gotta know, like in her
Mhm.
timing, in your kids' timing, they're gonna do what they want to do. And you just gotta
That's
keep
good.
praying about it in your closet by yourself. Like I was like, God, you didn't give me this kid to go to hell. You didn't give me this kid to be a failure. You promised me she was gonna have good success. And I just would pray that because I
Yes,
was
I
praying
love it.
opposite of what I was saying. I said, you promised me. You knew her life was not, it's not, this is not her life. I don't care what it looked like. I was praying the total opposite. She got into pharmacy school on her own. She was like, Mom, when she had the interview, she was like, oh, they said they're going to tell us in a week if I got it, but I know they're going to call me Friday. I got accepted. And I was just like, how is she so confident? Like, but they accepted her the day that she said it. She got into school, but she did it when and I'm glad she did it at her timing because sometimes
Yeah,
when it's our timing, they fail
Yeah.
yeah,
because we're
Figure it
forcing
out
them to do it
before they really
instead of
ready.
them wanting to do it free flowingly on their own. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's hard, Tramika. That letting go is hard. It's hard.
Whew. Yes. You was gonna say something, Harristina?
Now I was agreeing that yeah, in their timing and because I was pushing them. Y'all need to look for scholarships. You need to da 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 da. And I said I'm just gonna ease off on it. And they called me up, Mom. We applied for the scholarships, and that's when they got
Mm-hmm.
$2,000. One got 5,000. I said okay. I give you the information. You know when it's due. I stop riding them about certain things, and then they'll call me and say, "Oh, we did it. Just letting you know." So but yeah, I know when to pull back, knowing when to just pull back and let them see the importance of it.
Yeah, I'm in the season of fallback for sure. Because a comment was made, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's how you feel. Oh, okay, like, oh, I'm all the way back. Look,
Oh
I'm
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
all the way back. I got you on that. Okay,
And
so
she's
yeah,
coming back. They gonna need you again. She'll come back and just be like,
I
oh,
know.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
just
I know you're gonna need. Look, I know.
yeah.
So before we do our fun question of the week, what advice would you give to the moms listening? I know you gave some advice already, but is there anything else that you would like to share with any moms again that may be going through this or this is their upcoming stage of parenting?
What you thinking? What you thinking, Harristina?
Yeah, I'm thinking just and don't be like, well, just let them talk, let them express themselves, not in a disrespectful way, but just see where their headspace is and just listen to what they have to say and everything, because they need to get it out, they need to express, like I said, not in a disrespectful way, and but there's a way to do it and everything, to just let them just be a listening ear also, because going back again to the suicide rates and everything. One thing,
Mm-hmm.
my sister, she's a psychotherapist. We're in the process of setting up a forum for a 6 weeks course or whatever. And she said one thing, that age group, the reason why it's happening, so because when they are experiencing something and they say they can't or whatever, that's why the title is going to be managing your emotions moment by moment. And she said when it
Mm-hmm.
happens, they're in that moment, so just listen to them and talk to them, and being able to hear what they have to say as well, because she was saying how they push back and oh, they're not going to do that. She said they're saying
Mm-hmm.
what they're going to do, but you're not listening, and then it comes across their mind by themselves, and then it's like, I'm going to do it type thing. So
Yeah,
just let them express and listen to what they have to say.
absolutely. That was
Mhm.
good advice. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
My advice, I think, would be have an open mind. When you're talking to your children, because as they're talking, don't have a perceived way of how to handle things.
Oh, that's good.
you know be open minded about you know what they're saying, or it may be something that you're not used to or something that
Mm-hmm.
traditionally you like. But I think open mindedness will really help, because like I said, we're raising a different generation of children,
Mm-hmm.
and the traditional ways is not, so we can't raise them. in some of the traditional ways that we were raised.
Yeah.
And sometimes that take open-mindedness to even navigate and understand them in this time.
That's really good. I was
Yeah.
talking to a set of parents yesterday. I think it was yesterday, yeah. And the dad was saying how when his son was younger, he was so into computers that he stole one from the school that his mom worked at. And so he was like, of course, of course he got in trouble. He was like, but instead of just like grounding him for forever and like really scolding him, what he did was he went out and purchased him one. Because he like, if you want one bad enough where you gonna steal it and we don't do that, like obviously you want one. And he bought it for him. And by seventh grade, he was writing programs. And like he just went like really, really far with the computers, building them, all of that. And like now he works for Homeland Security doing like all that IT stuff behind the scenes. And he was like, I had to be a different parent. That probably wasn't his exact verbiage, but he was like, in most situations like that, you'll ground them and that's just it. He was like, of course he got in trouble. There was a consequence because we don't steal. But he like, I had to listen and understand, like, okay, why are you taking this computer? And so he went out and bought him one, which I just thought even something as small as that, that's amazing because typically as parents, we don't like, oh, well, if you want to steal it, then that means you don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we won't let them have it. And absolutely. And so I love what you said about the open-mindedness because we're raising a different breed, a different generation, and we do have to handle things a little bit different. And one of the things I always say is don't get caught up doing what grandma and mama is saying stuff. Now, some of the old school stuff do work, especially prayer. But at the same time, like it's so different. Their mind is different. The access to stuff is different. Like you have to be really in tune in what they have going on and like really, really like we lean on God a lot to help us navigate because we don't know. Like we even go through some of this stuff. We've never seen this stuff before. And then sometimes we can't even talk to our parents about it because they don't know because they haven't seen it. And they're so different. And so yes, like really leaning and trusting on God to help you navigate it. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
This was nice.
Having this conversation. I feel like it's like it was so many other we'll have to do like a part 2 or something because there's so many. We could have went deeper into the college. We could have went deeper into dating, like so much other stuff that we have to talk about. But I really appreciate it. Before we go to my fun question of the week, I want to know if we had a comment here. Shaladia, thanks for joining us. She said learning to be open-minded. Yes. Fun question of the week. So if you had to do one chore for the rest of your life, like every day you got to do it, what would it be? And if you didn't want to do a chore every day for the rest of your life, like what would it be? So one that you have to do and one that you absolutely don't want to do every day for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh. Fold clothes. Seem like the clothes just pile up.
Right?
I was like, I just finished them. I don't want to have to do clothes. That's one I do not want to have to do because it just feels like it's never ending for me. I think I'm on a schedule. I think I got it down pat, and I was like, oh my God, it's full again. So that would be one that I wouldn't want to do if I didn't have to do it. One that I wouldn't mind doing all the time is just basically dusting, keeping it nice and clean. So
that's good. I didn't think about that. Okay, that's a chore. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, that is a chore.
For me, I'm going to say the same thing. Laundry. Why? Sometimes I'm gonna have to make this confession for the world to see. I guess I will go and buy something. Like I don't feel like washing it. Let me just run to the store and see what they have. Let me just go buy something. I can put that on today. Like, horrible. That is horrible. But I'll be like, I don't feel like doing laundry. Let me see if I can find a shirt like that one because I just don't feel like washing. But one that I do, I have like OCD about the bathroom. So I'm always like cleaning the bathroom, the mirrors, like it has to be a certain way. And so I would do that like every single day. And I do it, because I'm like real particular about that bathroom.
I am too about the bathroom, but that I would say that's the one I don't want to do because I think it's disgusting. Even though I want it a certain way, like I hate doing it. And so a chore that I wouldn't mind doing every day, I wouldn't mind vacuuming every single day because I love the vacuum lines.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't mind. Yes, I love the lines in the carpet. So I wouldn't mind vacuuming vacuuming every day, but they can have the rest. I don't want to do none of stuff. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do none of that other stuff. But I'll vacuum every single day. It's just something I don't use it anymore. But I used to put the like the carpet cleaner stuff or whatever. You know, the little stuff you use. Yeah, and then vacuum, and then you got the smell, and you got your lime. I used to love it.
You have an aromatherapy.
Right.
All at the same time.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, ladies, it has been a pleasure sitting down with you all.
Yes.
Thank you again so much for sharing your insight. I know y'all part of the squad. I'm connected to y'all personally, so I'm learning through all the stories and experiences that y'all tell. So I just want to personally say that I thank you not only for being on the show, but from what I learned from you all personally as well. So that's it. Y'all meet us next week for another episode of Mom Talk Live, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Facebook and YouTube Live. Everybody have a good night. Y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.